We can now we can do it another time. We'll stop this at some point, and then you just keep pressing that button over and over again, and eventually Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
on the
not
financial scale.
that's not great. But with the Strait of Hormuz now, we can get to the MOU in a little bit and what the fuck is going on there. But were you a part of, without going into anything classified, were you a part of any discussions in the build up to the war, mapping out probable scenarios that the Strait of Hormuz could be locked off by the Iranian government in the event of war?
I mean, the U.S. government has done these war games since the 80s.
Right.
And that's always been the scenario.
Always.
I mean, so yeah, I was, but that's not like Joe Kent wasn't sitting there with a map being like, guys, you know, like this has literally been DOD and IC war games since I was in grade school. So this was known. We led ourselves to believe, because of the 12-day war, and I think some of the hubris from Venezuela, that the Iranians were a paper tiger. Because when the 12-day war kicked off, a lot of us, and I was in this camp too, I thought the Iranians were going to use their proxies, and I thought they were going to hammer us. But
Hezbollah,
the guys in Iraq. But basically what they did in February, I thought they were going to do, a lot of us thought they were going to do when the Israelis attacked in the 12-day war. Now, we stayed out of that, and the Iranians were like, well, we're not happy that we're being attacked right now, but we know the Americans are like, they're helping Israel, they're paying for all this, but they're not attacking us.
Right.
So, I mean, we saw it after we did Midnight Hammer, the Israelis shot back a volley of ballistic missiles to an empty quadrant of one of our bases in Qatar. They let us know ahead of time they were going to shoot at an empty quadrant of one of our bases in Qatar. And then they wanted to get right back to the negotiating table. Now, a lot of us breathed a sigh of relief and we're like, wow, that could have been a lot worse. Hopefully the negotiations can work. The Israelis and the people who are more hawkish went to the president and said, see, they're a paper tiger. They can't do anything. But we had I think we had pretty clear eyes at the time of like, their proxies are still intact. They still have ballistics. They still have drones. If they wanted to, they could make this thing really, really bad. And like I said, for years, we knew that the worst case scenario, if Iran was truly threatened, they would play their geographic trump card, which is the Straits of Hormuz. Like, you don't need to be a genius to look at that and be like, wow, if you don't need a lot of technology to really be a menace there in the Straits, just because it's so narrow and it's so critical.
Did you discuss this with Pete Hegseth? I mean, he's the Secretary of War.
Yeah,
he knew.
He knew.
So when he was saying, though, towards the beginning of the war and has continued to say, we've totally obliterated all of and I'm sure they've obliterated some things, but like, I don't know, 1 + 1 usually equals 2. If you're policing the Strait of Hormuz, something's not obliterated, right?
The problem is we speak and we say that we've destroyed their Navy, their Air Force, we destroyed their conventional forces to a certain extent, but their conventional forces were never the real power. The real power was in the IRGC, which is different than their military. It's also in a lot of the Basij. But then the way that the Iranians dispersed a lot of their capabilities, especially ballistics, the production of ballistics, drones, the way that they dispersed a lot of those capabilities. When we went and we hit their conventional Navy, I mean, it's pretty easy for us to see satellites, like where those naval assets are. They have a lot of coastline, but it's not that big. So yeah, we blew it up, but the Iranians aren't dumb. They knew we were going to do that.
Right.
So they weren't going to use those capabilities to go shut down the Straits of Hormuz. They were going to use what they're using right now. Like whenever a tanker goes outside of where the Iranians say the tanker can go, they don't hit all of them, but they hit enough of them to slow down the shipments.